What's up, guys? It's your boy, the Battlestar, and today we're getting into a how-to video for making thumbnails for your Twitch and YouTube videos. The first thing we want to do is come over to befunky.com. That's the free website that I use to make thumbnails. Now, they also have a paid version that'll give you some extra different things that you can add and different little settings that you can use. That's how they separate free from paid. But for now, we're going to go into their photo editor. We will upload a background photo that we're going to use. Go into our recents, pick our photo. We've already picked this photo out ahead of time and kind of just saved it from what we had selected. You can go to google.com or you can go to Bing, whatever your search engine is, and look for your photos. Now, for your background or for your main picture, you want the resolution to be 1280 by 720. 720 is still considered high definition, but it keeps the file small enough for you to use for YouTube. At least that's what their guidelines are. So first thing we want to do, you want to decide what kind of thumbnail you want it to be. We kind of have an idea, and we made a thumbnail very similar to this one before. So that's the style and design that we're going to go for. You can come into the edited tab that you saw me clicking earlier. And we just kind of play with the exposure just a little bit, just to get the light and stuff and the shadows changed up a little bit. Like I said, the main goal is to just make a whole different image. Our focus is on this one. Our focus is going to be this guy out here in the background and the explosion, which is mainly him. We're going to end up blocking this front half out. We have one design where we block this left side out. So for this one, we're going to block the right side. You want to just play with the fill light and stuff like that a little bit, so you have something that you like. Next, we can come down to sharpness and just get it to pop out just a little bit more, and just to make the colors a little bit more saturated. Next is blur. Blur is kind of my favorite one to use. So I'll come in and I just want the guy up front. So I'll adjust the blur to kind of blur everything out. Switch over to paint, do the strength of the paintbrush there, and then just change my paintbrush size and click the whatever side of the image or whatever subject of the image you want to focus into. Like I said, for the first one that we had, we blocked out this left side. This guy standing here with that scar. So for this thumbnail, we're actually going to keep him in the image and block out the other guy. You want to go in and just decide what part of the image you want it to be visible. You know, he's pretty close up to the camera, so it would make sense that you'd be able to see him way better than you would see anything else. And the blur trick is just a way to get him to pop out from his background a little bit more. It's nothing super fancy, it's just a basic trick. But it's something, like I said, this is a free website, so I don't really have or use the Photoshop or expensive apps and programs and stuff like that. So this is kind of just a neat trick to help things pop out and kind of make it different. So we'll go in and we'll focus. Like I said, you want to be careful when you want to focus on whatever part of the image. If you choose to use the blur or the smoothness or the sharpness, just whatever part of the image you choose to use, that's what you want to try to focus on. And just kind of leave stuff in the background there. All right, so he stands out way more than anything else in his image. So we'll hit OK. Everything else we can leave. So touch-up is mainly for actual pictures of people, where you do blemishes and stuff like that. For the most part, this is all locked behind a paid account. But I've never really used it for any of the thumbnails. Effects are a bunch of different filters and stuff that you can do. I haven't really done that either. Borders, frame, and artsy are all self-explanatory. The artsies are filters, borders are self-explanatory. Just gonna add, a white or so border around your picture. So next we're gonna go into graphics. Now for graphics are different things that you can add to your thumbnail or different like overlays and stuff like that. For that, I use geometry and I'll pick a shape for blocking stuff out. So we want to block out mostly, we want it to line up with the edging of the wall that he's hiding behind. And kind of just put that into place there. Like I said, we're going to zoom out just so that we can see the shape that we're using a little bit better and see how much blocking out we really have to do. So we'll come in, add it to about right there. And we see that white line that shows up in the middle shows that it's centered. We'll come over here to the left and change the color of it. We'll just pick a color, whatever color you want to pick or whatever color you like. Favorite color. Now you can use this teardrop emblem right here and pick a color in the background. Like if I wanted to match the sky, you know, bam, I would pick that color. That's actually not bad. We'll go with that. So we'll zoom in. Now we have the image that we want to use. You know, we got this guy, he's aiming at something. We want to know what's going on. So come over to manage layer, add layers. Come to our downloads is where we saved everything. And just look for our Fortnite logo. Bam. Choosing Fortnite. Now that white line at the top will tell us where the very top is. This will help us to stretch it out so that it fits right there. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit more. And we see that it is cut out. Anything on the outside of this gray up here is going to get cut off from the picture. So we want to keep it within the picture. And you see they gave us a line at the very top to keep it within and a line on the right to keep it within on that border as well. So this is what our image more or less is going to look like. So you know what game I'm playing. Kind of have an idea of what's going on. Some explosion. He's got the guns. We're shooting at stuff. You know, maybe you don't know what Fortnite is, so you're curious as to why he's got a pickaxe. Just something to help it kind of stand out a little bit. Next, we're going to text. We'll pick our font. So you can have anything that you have saved on your computer's fonts. That'll be yours. Ours is theirs on the website. So we'll scroll up. Come right into Merriweather, which is my favorite font to use. And then add my usual tag, which is my name. Now you see that this is stretched out. You can actually change the color of your font. Go click to here. You can change the color. You can give it a background. We're leaving it transparent, but you can change the outline of the letters. Of course, change the color of the letters themselves. You can choose your font size, spacing, orient how you want it to show up within its little bubble here. You have your blend mode, which you'll have for anything that you bring into the picture, as well as a little options menu that will show you, you know, you can duplicate, center things left or right, move them front to back, depending on how you want to layer them. So for this text, I'm actually going to go in and shrink this. If you leave that spacing open when you go to increase the size of your text, it's just going to increase the size of that spacing. So usually we'll have something like right here at the bottom. We'll have it more towards the bottom when I used to do my thumbnails. The timestamp for the videos or for the live streams would end up always blocking it. So we're actually starting to pick it up a little bit more. Next, we're going to we'll use their capture because I like the way the font looks for live, which is usually what I put for a live stream when I figure out how to spell it right. Next, we'll change the color. We'll make it red. This is one of the only few times where I'll use the spacing, and that's why I left the gap there open. I usually space it out by 15, and then I'll come in and I'll close it. So if I leave this gap open, right, and I make it bigger, this makes this whole space bigger. It doesn't really affect it much, but a lot of times it doesn't increase the font size as much because it wants to increase the entire spacing. So I'll come over, put live. Now, if I have a logo, like if the background image has a game logo here or something that I can't get rid of, and I'll switch to live and I'll put it on the right-hand side. But for the most part, I always keep them on the left. Increase it just so it's big enough for you to see, you know, when you're looking at the thumbnail, you know that it's a live stream. And so next we'll come over to manage layers. The last thing that I like to add is my YouTube logo. So I'll go in, change the color of it, make it white, change the intensity of it, and this way it's a full white logo. And it's just so that it can match the letters. I used to change the colors. Like if I change the colors, the main body colors of the letters, I would change the colors of the logo. But for the most part, we've been keeping them white just so that we can kind of have a balance and everything's somewhat symmetrical. So that's pretty much what I'll go in and do. Like I said, this is just a basic setup or a basic tutorial on how to change things or how to create a actually, change the colors of this square. Go a little bit darker just so it stands out a little bit more. Just a basic how to make thumbnails. Like I said, there's a bunch of different programs and different websites and things you can do like that. BeFunky has been a free website for the longest for me and anybody else using it. I'm assuming who's not paying for it. And they'll give you basic stuff and basic things that you can use, but it still makes your thumbnail pop a little bit, and you can add different things depending on how creative you are to make it all look different. Now, flatten layers will basically, this is what the final image will look like. It'll flatten everything down and make it seem like it's one big picture. So once your thumbnail is done and you've created and it's the way that you like it, you come over to save. You can actually save it or send it to a bunch of different places, but I usually like to save them on my computer. So the first thing you want to do is title the file. So I like to write Fortnite TN, or I like to write whatever game TN. And I'll add the number there. It's just how many thumbnails I have for Fortnite. I don't actually have 9, but I don't remember how many I made. I'm pretty sure I'm at 7 or so. Next, you want to pick your format. I'll go PNG because I usually for thumbnails it doesn't really matter between the two. But I'll just go in and, like, for JPEG, you kind of play around with the quality a little bit. For PNG is already set up. Now for YouTube, I'm not sure what it is for Twitch. For YouTube, you want to make sure your thumbnail is about 1280 by 720 pixels and no bigger than 2 megabytes. Kilobytes are smaller than megabytes, so if it does happen to come up as kilobytes, you can go to your search engine, look for converter, and just type in whatever numbers here, and it'll tell you how many megabytes it is. Like I said, you just want to keep it under 2. So this is your final image. So I'll hit save. And what I'll do next is show you the difference between the thumbnail that we have and the actual image that we originally started with. So we're going to close this out. Come over to Finder. This is the original image that we had. So it's the original thumbnail or the original picture that we're going to start with. And this is the new picture. So just side by side. Like I said, you can see some more stuff here, but we're not focusing on the background. We're focusing on the color. Color seems to pop up a little bit more on him. This adds a little bit, something for you to kind of catch your eye and stuff like that. And that's your main goal, is that you just want to have 2 different images and just add different things to it on it to give it somewhat your own creative style. And like I've been doing is I'll just create a folder for my thumbnails. So I'll come over, drag and drop, send it to the thumbnails, and just keep it there. But basically, that's a how-to on how to make thumbnails, and how to use BeFunky as your website for doing Photoshops and things like that. So hopefully you found this video super helpful. If you liked it or enjoyed it, please smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We do a whole lot of different games. We've got some Fortnite, some Call of Duty, some Star Wars. We do live streams and different how-to videos, and we'll throw some highlight reel videos in there as well. You guys can always catch me on Twitter at the Battlestar. On YouTube, we're gonna be making the switch to Twitch here soon, so hopefully you guys will follow me over and come check me out on Twitch. But of course, have a good one. Hopefully this has helped you guys out.